what it is. I'm here to talk about the fight weekend that's coming up, both in mixed martial arts and the sport of boxing. So hopefully everybody tune in. You know what it is. So for the box, let's get right down to it. You know the big match that's ongoing right now. You know what I'm saying? The one that now the ledger of both is, Julian Williams is sitting at 26 and 1, 16 knockouts. And Jarrett Hurd is 23 and 0. He's undefeated. He's a unified super welterweight champion. Now, what makes that great is he holds the IBF, the IBO, and the WBA championship. His most notable wins, right, leading up to this point was, the stoppage of Tony Harrison in the ninth round, back in 2017. And also he went in there and faced Austin Trout. Then next, Erislandy Lara, where he won via split decision. And now, after his fight with Jason Wellborn, coming off an injury, he's due to step back in there for the first time with Julian Williams. And Julian Williams is looking to prove everybody he's a contender. Why? It is. I try to tell people this, right? On these boxing groups. People that just sit up here and group the Charlo brothers together. And I'm saying that Julian Williams, he wasn't stopped by Jermell Charlo. He was stopped by Jamal Charlo, y'all. Julian Williams was stopped by Jamal Charlo prior to him moving up to 160. So now he's due to step into the ring against a very tough opponent in Jarrett Hurd, which a lot of people is saying it's a 50-50 fight. And you have to give it up for Julian Williams. Julian Williams is still remembered from that knockout, unfortunately. There against Ishe Smith, stepped in there with Nate the Great Gallimore. And then I a guy, Francisco Javier, I believe. So he's looking to just do away with the knockout loss that he had against Jamal Charlo. Hold on for a second. For some reason, a lot of boxing fans believing that Julian Williams, J-Rock, has lost more than at one time. No, he's 26 and 1. So the way I see it is, he's going in here tomorrow, Fairfax, Virginia, and he has a lot to prove in a sense that a lot of people are still just thinking about that one knockout that he faced against Jamal Charlo. How do I see it? I see it as an even bout myself. Even though Jarrett Hurd, the performance that he had against Erislandy Lara, before that, it's a lot of people that was talking about, his performance against Austin Trout, and then the way he looked against Jason Wellborn coming off that injury. It's going to be a much more competitive bout than people giving it credit for. Julian Williams can box. And both of these guys somewhat respect one another. Jarrett Hurd, of course, is the much bigger fighter. He has improved over time. To me, when I used to watch Jarrett Hurd fight, I say he's taking a little bit too much punishment. Work on your defense. He is tough. He is a respectable super welterweight champion, no doubt about it. And you look at Julian Williams, he's a very tough fighter too. He's very slick on the inside. So you got to give it up for Julian Williams, man, working himself back up to the championship pinnacle to face Jarrett Swift Hurd. Why? Because it's his time. It's his time. Like I said before, he's been in there with some guys that's respectable. Ishe Smith, you got to give it up to him. Nate the Great, Nathaniel Gallimore stepped in there with him and won via decision. And then his last opponent. So I'll say he earned the right to step in there for the unified championship. And he's going to make it very interesting, very competitive. Both of these guys weighed in, balanced the scales accordingly. And I truly look forward to seeing that matchup tomorrow. I may be on deck for that one, to be honest with you. I might be on deck for that one. But I have a 50-50 fight. You're looking for my predictions. I still have to go with a fighter that had the more reputable competition, so to speak. I have to go with Jarrett Swift Hurd. I'm just saying with the experience that he's had in his last four opponents, for which he did it, I have to give that level that edge, that momentum, that energy going in here against a fighter like Julian Williams. I have to give him the decision. That decision, I don't want to say it's going to be a stoppage. I just think he can decision Julian Williams. And why would Julian, the much sharper boxer, go on the inside with the larger fighter? I don't know. Stranger things has happened. You know what I'm saying? People have thrown away game plans, offensive strategies once they step in there and get hit. So when it comes down to it, man, Julian Williams, he may indeed switch it up, fight on the inside, or fight at a distance. Either way, people, Jarrett Hurd is going to press. He is going to press. Believe that. So I get Jarrett Hurd taking that. Now on to the UFC and Bellator, okay? The UFC, we have a headliner in the strawweight division. Thug Rose Namajuna is going in against Jessica Andrade. Thug Rose has a record of 8-3, but don't be mistaken. What she did was respectable. Her one loss before she ventured into the UFC was against was against Tisha Torres in Invicta. Once she stepped in there and went in the Ultimate Fighter house, she made it all the way up to the Ultimate Fighter Finale 20 against Carla Esparza. And she just was so green that she went in there against a fighter who had better wrestling and was a pretty good boxer. And Thug Rose Namajunas was still improving her game. Like, if you look at that fight, she was just doing some crazy, outlandish striking, flying kicks. She really didn't know what to do. Except, yeah, she was in there fighting, but Carla Esparza was much more disciplined, much more technically sound, and she defeated Thug Rose. But after that, Thug Rose took a little bit of time off, came back even better. She went in there against Angela Hill. She went in there against Paige Van Zant, defeated both of those, and then stepped in there for a rematch with Tisha Torres, who she had fought in Invicta. Beat her on strikes, earned that unanimous decision. And then out of nowhere, people, she stepped in there with a fighter, a sleeper, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who defeated her via decision, right? Another downfall for Rose. Took a little bit more time, came back against a fighter who actually won the Ultimate Fighter 21 in Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie. Hey, she had a lot of hype behind her. People was like, oh man, she's gonna be the next big thing. You know, we like her. She can strike pretty decent. Her ground game's a little suspect. And when she was due to step in there with Thug Rose Namajunas, people was like, man, she's gonna have trouble with the ground game. She better hope she doesn't overly commit on her strikes and her punching combinations, because Thug will take her down. And guess what? Thug Rose was punishing Michelle Waterson on the feet, and the fight went down to the ground. And if you look at it, the last remaining seconds prior to Thug Rose subbing Michelle Waterson was a bloody fighter who was in deep with a rear naked choke from Namajunas. And you can see the last breath leave. And that's what the camera was focus on. Her eyes was glazed over. She didn't have anything. She couldn't do anything. And she was just swinging. And the last remaining breath went away. And she was out. So that was actually a phenomenal win for Thug Rose Namajunas, leading to her championship bout with who? Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Yeah, you better believe it. She was on the momentum, coming off a very impressive win against Michelle Waterson, karate hottie. And she went in there and did what she had to do. Now check it. I got to switch over to her opponent, Jessica Andrade. She's 19-6, much more experienced, right? But she's also been stopped. She went in there against Raquel Pennington at bantamweight 135, and she was stopped. Believe it or not, she was stopped. So she worked her way up. She went there against Angela Hill and some other notable fighters. And she did fairly well. You know, Tisha Torres, she defeated. So she stepped in there against who? Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She finally got the title shot she was looking for. She's going in there against a fighter who's on the fifth defense of her strawweight title, y'all. This was the next coming of the Ronda Rousey of the UFC. She was on a tear. She had defended her title 4 times already. This was her 5th defense, and she stepped in there against Jessica Andrade and defeated her big time. So now we have Thug Rose Namajuna, who's the champion. Why is she the champion? Because I kind of left that out, people. After Jessica Andrade was defeated by Joanna Jacek, the next opponent was Thug Rose Namajuna. She went in there and closed out the fight in the first round, y'all. That was her 6th title defense. Joanna was on a freaking momentum like no other. The hype behind this chick being that she was trying to basically defend her title and surpass the 6 straight defenses that Ronda Rousey did. She had the momentum and everything in her favor. But she went into a fight, right? After all the personal aspersions, the way she denigrated Thug Rose, got personal, talking about her mental problems, talking about how she cannot handle the pressure, how she has so much going on. It's just certain areas of darkness that you don't need to venture into when you're in the fight game. And that's what Joanna Jacek did to Thug Rose. And if you look at all the memes, Rose was serious. When they did the face-off, they asked her what she was saying to herself. And she said she was just rehearsing a prayer. She was reverberating a prayer that was in her head. You know what I'm saying? She was reciting a prayer. And Joanna, all she was doing is just keep on verbal sparring, trying to get in the head. And you know what? Thug Rose humbled Joanna. She changed that fight for life. Because once she knocked her out in the first round, Joanna was like, no, it's not going to happen a second time. She won't defeat me a second time. And then the next time, we saw Joanna, she's up there with a kid. She's changing her whole character as a fighter. People was like, yeah, you talked yourself into a check you couldn't cash. And you was defeated by a fighter that was much better than you. That's real talk. It was crazy, y'all, but it happened. So she stepped into the cage again against Thug Rose and lost a 5-round decision. Now I'm gonna take you to the first to the 4th round. It was a stand-up exchange back and forth between these two, and it was competitive because Joanna, her kickboxing skill set, upright posture, her kick punch combinations was on point. Well, one thing that she was worried about is getting taken down by Thug Rose, who had the much better ground game. But when Thug Rose Namajuna strikes, she's not really worried about being taken down by Joanna because she knows there's a disparity there between ground games. So when she was kicking, she was committing. She was going forward. She was kind of, saying, what, I'm not worried about you taking me down, so I'm going to take more risk. And that's what happened. So heading to the 5th round, the comfort zone was there. Both of them has been striking from the 1st through the 4th round until Thug Rose went in for a shot in the 5th round, and she was able to complete it. And that basically sealed the deal. She defeated Joanna Jacek a 2nd time in the rematch. So now it brings us to this moment right here where she's facing Jessica Andrade, who fought. She fought, like I said before, for the title, and she lost. Okay, the commonality here, the denominator is that she went in there when Joanna was defending the title for the 5th time and she lost. Now she's back against Thug Rose, who's coming off, nursing an injury, to defend her title for a 2nd time against one of the toughest fighters who used to campaign at 135. Now she's down to strawweight, 115. How does that happen? How is she able to once compete at 135 and making weight at 115? It's crazy, but she's going to be a problem. But the one good thing about it is that Thug Rose said it before. She's the much longer ranger fighter. You know what I'm saying? Her game all around, she understands, she feels comfortable on the ground, whether it's striking. But what most people are going to say about Jessica Andrade is that her striking the way she tries to bully her opponent, she tries to muscle her way in to the inside and just land strikes, dirty box, get grimy. That's Andrade, man. Straight Brazilian, brawler type. She doesn't care. But the one thing about it, she's in there with the fighter who's faced adversity, and that's Rose Namajuna. She's faced adversity. She's been there already. She's been there. So it's nothing new to her. She lost the Ultimate Fighter 20 against Carla Esparza. She's been there. And then while she had the momentum going, she lost to Karolina Kowalkiewicz, rebounded, faced Michelle Waterson, Karate Hottie, and now she's here to defend not only her title, y'all, but she agreed to go in the backyard. A backyard that most fighters don't want to go to, especially if they defended her title. And that's Brazil. Brazil. She's going over there to defend her title in Jessica Andrade's home soil, her backyard. She said, a champion is not to be comfortable, but to challenge. So she's stepping over there to Brazil to defend her title. You got to give it up. You have to have ultimate respect for her. And I salute her for doing that. I'm a fan of Thug Rose anyway. So I wish you the best tomorrow night going in there and defending your title against the Brazilian Jessica Andrade and get that ninth victory. All right? Because you deserve it. You improve your game. Shout out to Thug Rose and the team and go get that work. All right? Next in mixed martial arts, and that's the last thing I'm going to talk to. And of course, those of you that's tuning in to my live, I appreciate the support. I appreciate all of you that's tuning in to World Combat Sports. I'm going to continue to try to give you the quality media that you yearn for, out here in the media trenches, definitely. And just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. I'm going to try to go from fob to fob. That means I'm going to try to go from fight to fight and give you that media work, post it online, and please continue to tune in. Pass the word about World Combat Sports. My effort is for you, the supporters and the fight fans, to get quality media. Now, the last mixed martial arts that I'm going to talk about, the MMA that's going down this weekend, is Michael Chandler against Patricio Pitbull. Okay? One thing about this is that the history between Chandler and his brother Patricio is personal. Michael Chandler defeated Patricio twice already. The last outing that they had, he stopped the man in the second round, I believe, from strikes. So the history between these brothers, Patricio and Patricio, is very relevant with Michael Chandler. So guess what? The day at the weigh-ins, if you saw Michael Chandler, both of them made weight, okay? So Patricio, the one that's been defeated twice already, he was standing behind his brother Patricio. So Michael Chandler raised his right hand and pointed over the right shoulder of Patricio, and Patricio slapped it down. He was basically saying to his brother Patricio, be quiet, shut up, I already defeated you. Stand behind your brother, and watch what I do to him tomorrow night. So this is a rivalry, so to speak. A little bit of animus, of course, between these two fighters. But Michael Chandler is a beast, y'all. And come on, Patricio and Patricio isn't to be messed with. He has losses against Daniel Strauss, Pat Curran, Joe Warren, I believe. He has lost against notable top-tier opposition. Michael Chandler himself, he's coming off his recent loss against Brent Primus. He endured the injury, came back and won a decision. But it was at one point in time, y'all, that Michael Chandler had 3 straight consecutive losses. He stepped in there with Eddie Alvarez. He lost. And then twice he went in there against Will Brooks. Lost back-to-back. I know he was like confused, bewildered, dumbfounded, like what the hell is going on? Sort of like TJ Dillashaw did when he was losing. But it was crazy though. He's rebounded. He went in there against Brent Primus in a championship bout. He lost the belt due to a foot injury. Came back, defeated Brent Primus, and now he's due to face Patricio. All right. So y'all be sure to tune into that in Bellator. Who do I have? What is my prediction? Guess what? I have Michael Chandler winning that still. Because one thing I know about those brothers, Patricio and Patricky, is that they abandon fight plans very quickly. If you touch them on the chin the right way, if you stun them, you hurt them, they go all out. Reckless abandonment. They don't care about anything else except returning a favor. And to a lot of it, it would be their demise. Michael Chandler, if you ever seen his training videos, he is a beast. Absolutely phenomenal trainer. Man, he can throw down. And it's going to be a very exciting bout tomorrow. I have Michael Chandler winning that bout. And look, I'm going to tell you both sides. I believe he can stop Patricio. I do. I believe Michael Chandler can stop the fight and get an early knockout. Real talk. It's a lot of animosity. And you know what happened when that animosity boils over and you with a fighter that just don't know how to just stay composed, poised, and go in there and stick to the offensive game plan. And that's the problem with them Pitbull brothers, man. They so intense sometimes when they get hit on the chin or hurt, they just go for the fences. But yeah, Bellator, that's who I have. I have that. Michael Chandler will keep his belt and still. And closing next week, man, you know what it is. We have the bronze bomber out of Tuscaloosa, y'all. WBC heavyweight champion. It's going down at the Barclays, facing his mandatory Dominique Brazil. If he closes his eyes and he don't wake up, don't say nothing, because this is what you asked for. People, it's serious. This is serious. This is real talk. This is authentic. This is genuine. Dislike. This is venom. This is toxicity, y'all. This is for real. Know that. Know it. These two have a history, of an encounter that they had, legal, basically litigation that was presented from Dominique trying to, he did sue Deontay Wilder. This is real, y'all. This is what boxing is about when it comes to the rivalry, the backstory. Believe that Deontay Wilder is heading into the Barclays, just like he said. He want to punish Dominique Brazil, and he want to then knock him out. And you know what? I absolutely believe it's going to go down. I just don't know what round. I said it wouldn't go past 5, but I just have it with Deontay stopping Dominique Brazil early. Now, I'm pretty sure one or two things going to happen. Dominique Brazil is going to come in there and push the pace early. You know what I'm saying? And go and throw everything out the window and see if it worked. Because a lot of people are still remembering Luis King Kong Ortiz. But guess what? King Kong didn't have any success really until that seventh round with 41 seconds remaining, y'all. And even then, Deontay weathered the storm. Stop playing. Why do y'all continue to bring that up? He did what he had to do. He already had King Kong Ortiz hurt early in the fight. But anyway, Dominique Brazil has a lot to worry about. If he comes in there and try to push the pace early, does he have the cardio? Does he have the chin? That's the question. You know why? Because he's been stopped by Anthony Joshua already. He can be knocked out. And he was talking all that noise before he stepped in the ring against Anthony Joshua. He was stopped. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think going to happen with the hardest hitter, the heaviest hands in boxing, WBC champion, bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder? He gonna get the job done, y'all. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no doubt. There's no optimism. Dominique Brazil, man, he's kind of, opened up and energized a beast that was already there, but he had to, re-gauge some of those areas to refine his technical skill set, he said. He had to go back to the basics. So I can imagine, what's going down next week. I've seen him twice and leading up to this fight in phenomenal shape. And I'm telling you, it's going to be trouble. For real. They call him Dominique Trouble Brazil. He's in trouble. Absolutely. So for all of you that tuned in, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Salute to you from World Combat Sports. Continue to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, IG. I need to get those followers up, you know, really. I need for you to pass the word and get those followers up on IG. I need you to subscribe to the channel and pass the word, y'all. I do this. I love what I do, and I continue to provide you quality content. Besides that, until next time, y'all hold it down.